for Australian cricket, but also a huge moment for Pat Cummins. That's 2 ICC titles for him this year. Was it not the near-perfect campaign, but the near-perfect final for you?
Yeah, it's about peaking at the right time, and Australia certainly did that. And between Pat Cummins and Andrew McDonald, they need to take a lot of credit for that.
Their first vital right here on Indian shores, and they have done it again. We've got a full packed analyst with us here on Jindal Panther Cricket Live, powered by Amal. But first and foremost, I will go to Aaron Finch, our world champion in the house. This is a huge moment, Finchy, for Australia, for Australian cricket, but also a huge moment for Pat Cummins. That's 2 ICC titles for him this year. Was it not the near-perfect campaign, but the near-perfect final for you?
Yeah, it's about peaking at the right time, and Australia certainly did that. And between Pat Cummins and Andrew McDonald, they need to take a lot of credit for that. The way that group has stayed together for quite a while now. To have a long campaign of the World Test Championship, the Ashes, a lot of the players are still the same. You can see what it means to all of them. To save your best for last and play an almost perfect game was remarkable. It started with the ball. It was backed up in the field where they were unbelievable in the semi-final and the final. And Travis Head, what about that for a knock?
Oh, that was a stage to come to the party. Sunny, do you look at this group here? It's essentially a core group that has won you a T20 World Cup, that has won you a World Test Championship, and that has won you now a one-day World Cup. Should we be talking about Australian domination again?
We should be, because of the way they've been playing. Look at the way they don't forget they retained the Ashes as well before they came for the World Cup. So they've really had an outstanding season, starting with the World Test Championship, then the Ashes series, and now winning the World Cup. So they certainly look as if they're going to be a dominant team again, but probably not as dominant as they were in, say, the late 90s and the early 2000s, where they were winning just about every game. Pretty much like the West Indies of the 1970s and 1980s, winning just about everything. Now I think there are a couple of teams which are giving them a fight. England, for example, in the Ashes, gave them a real close run. Then India is another team which is always will give them a close run, and South Africa is coming good as well.
Australia world champions for the 6th time. That's a record that is incredible. You look at some of the moments that you've seen from them in this World Cup campaign. Travis Head, as you mentioned, Pat Cummins has been extraordinary today himself as well. That too as a captain. And Glenn Maxwell's double 100, the innings of a lifetime. It gets you that world trophy.
And welcome to the final presentation. Congratulations to both teams for putting on a grand spectacle. You both had a great run, you've entertained and done our game proud. On behalf of the International Cricket Council, I'd like to thank the hosts, BCCI, the sponsors, the international media and broadcasters, the players, and finally the fans for putting on a great event. I would like to introduce the presentation party today. To my left, first I have Mr. Greg Barclay, Chairman of the ICC, Mr. Jay Shah, the Honorary Secretary of the BCCI, Mr. Sachin Tendulkar, the Tournament Ambassador, Mr. Roger Binney, President of the BCCI, and Mr. Jeff Allardyce, ICC Chief Executive. Firstly, I would like to invite the match officials to collect their medals from Mr. Jeff Allardyce, the ICC Chief Executive. We start with the match referee, Andy Pycroft. And now the on-field umpires, Richard Illingworth and Richard Kettleborough. Richard Illingworth, please. The TV umpire, Joe Wilson. And the fourth umpire, Chris Gaffney. Now is the time to award the player of the match. And to present this, we have Mr. Sachin Tendulkar. There were some notable performances in this game today, but it was one man who stole the show. Travis Head, for 137 of just 120 balls, 15 fours and 4 sixes, is the man of the match in the World Cup final. Well, the next award is for the player of the tournament. And the jury for this award comprised of Mr. Ian Bishop from the ICC TV commentary team, Ms. Cass Naidu, also from the ICC TV commentary team, Mr. Shane Watson, the same from the ICC television commentary team, Mr. Sunil Vaidya, sports journalist, and Mr. Wasim Khan, ICC General Manager Cricket. And for his outstanding performance right through the World Cup, the player of the tournament, for being the most consistent player, Virat Kohli. 765 runs and 300s, marking his tournament. He collects the award from Mr. Roger Binning, the president of the BCCI. They may have come second best today, but congratulations to India for their part in this tournament. They've been superb and have added a lot to the event. May I now invite the Indian team to come up to collect their medals from Mr. Jay Shah, the Honorary Secretary of the BCCI. We start with Ravichandran Ashwin. Mr. Jasprit Bumrah. Mr. Shubman Gill. Shreyas Iyer. Ravindra Jadeja. Ishan Kishan. Virat Kohli. Prasid Krishna. KL Rahul. Another man who's had an outstanding tournament, Mohammad Shami. Mohammad Siraj. Shardul Thakur. Kuldeep Yadav. Surya Kumar Yadav. And the captain, Rohit Sharma. But I'd like to ask Rohit, come up please. Well, Rohit, tough luck. You can hold your head high with the way you played. but on the given day, Australia were too good.
Yeah, I mean, look, honestly, the result has not gone our way. Obviously, we know that we were not good enough today. But again, I think really proud of the team, how we played from game one. Just wasn't our day. We tried everything we could from our side. But yeah, wasn't supposed to be.
240 you got. What do you think was par for the course there?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, 20-30 more would have been good. We spoke around 25-30 overs when KL and Virat were batting. I thought, when they were batting, they were stitching a good partnership there. And then they just needed to bat as long as possible. We were looking at 270, 280 at that point, but then we kept losing wicket. We couldn't stitch a big partnership there. And that's exactly what Australia did to win the game. They stitched a big partnership after that 3 wickets.
47 for 3 you had Australia. What was going through your mind at that stage?
No, look, obviously that was the plan. When you have 240 on the board, you want to take wickets as early as possible, and we did that. But then again, credit to those two guys in the middle, Travis Head and Manas. They stitched a big partnership and put us completely out of the game for us. But again, we tried everything we could. But I thought the wicket got slightly better to bat under the lights.
I was coming to that. Thoughts on the pitch? It was slow first up, and then in the last 20 overs or so when Australia batted, came on nicely.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we knew under the lights it would be slightly better, but again, don't want to give that as an excuse. We didn't bat well enough to put enough runs on the board. And then with the seamers up front, we got those 3 wickets where we thought, another wicket there, we can open up the game. But again, a credit to those 2 guys in the middle for stitching that big partnership.
Well, you can hold your head high. Rohit, it's been an outstanding 1.5 months. You guys have played fantastic cricket, and some of your boys have been simply outstanding. Tough luck today.
Thank you.
Well, Rohit Sharma, captain of the Indian team. And I'd now like to ask the victorious Australian team to come up and receive their medals from Mr. Greg Barclay, the ICC chairman. We start with Sean Abbott. Mr. Alex Carey. Mr. Cameron Green. Josh Hazelwood. Travis Head. Josh Inglis. Manas Labuschagne. Mitchell Marsh. Glenn Maxwell. Steve Smith. Mitchell Stark. Marcus Stoinis. David Warner. Adam Zampa. Adam Zampa. And the captain, Pat Cummins. I'd now like to ask Pat Cummins to come and have a chat, please. Pat, you'll be chuffed to bits with the way your boys played, just rose to the occasion on the big day.
Yeah, that's it. I think we saved our best for last. And yeah, a couple of big match players stood up and yeah, we're pretty chuffed.
Brave decision at the toss. You seemed pretty confident when you said you wanted to field first.
Yeah, we're tossing it up. We've been batting first pretty much for the whole tournament. Today we thought, yeah, it was a good night to chase down. We thought it might actually get a little bit easier to play, and everyone was pretty keen to get out there.
What do you make of the pitch when you started bowling, the pace of the track?
It was a bit slower than I thought. Didn't particularly spin probably as much as we thought either. And yeah, I thought everyone adjusted pretty well and bowled some tight lines.
When you came into bowl, you were the first bowler who adjusted your lengths. You brought it back and hit the deck.
Yeah, on a slow wicket like that, there's pretty variable bounce. So we thought a couple of catches on the leg side. Yeah, you know, you've got to score runs in ODI cricket, so put a few catches there, make a couple of decisions.
As a captain, you would have been delighted with the way your guys fielded in that first 1 hour of play. They were desperate and they were brilliant.
Yeah, desperate for sure. I think it all started last week against South Africa. The boys were fantastic, and yeah, we've got an ageing side, but everyone still throws himself around in the game when you've got a big stadium like this packed.
What were you happy restricting India to? In the end, it was 240.
Yeah, really chuffed with 240. I think probably anything under 300, really. You know, I thought 300 might have been tough, but achievable on that wicket. So we're really happy with 240.
Now, to win a World Cup final, you got to show character. And at 47 for 3, you know, there might have been a few, you know, your hearts fluttering there, but that partnership was magnificent.
Yeah, I was one of those blokes with the hearts fluttering upstairs. I was pacing. Magnificent. You know, Marnus walked in and he had a cool head straight away, and Trav just does what he does. Really brave again. He takes the game on, puts the pressure back on the bowlers, and to do it on the biggest stage, I mean, shows a lot of character.
No, but when you look at Travis Head, you know, he missed the first half of the tournament. He comes in, gets 100, and he finishes off with 100, and in blazing fashion on a big stage.
Oh, amazing. And I think, you know, the unheralded few, the you know, the selectors that backed him in even when he was at a broken hand, and the medical team to get him back. It was a big risk that we took, and it paid off. And yeah, couldn't be happy for Trav. He's a legend. We love him, and I mean, how fun is he to watch?
Now, this is probably the biggest crowd we've seen for an international match, and it happened to be a World Cup final, close to 125,000 people. What did it feel like?
It was awesome. I must say, I was pretty happy they were silent for a lot of the bowling innings. A couple of times they got loud, and it was really loud, but fantastic. I mean, the passion in India is unrivaled around the world, and I think it's amazing that every single person's wearing the blue shirt. So you look around, and it's a pretty special moment. One that, whatever the result happened, we're never going to forget a day like today.
Now, what did you tell your boys? You lost the first 2 games, and then to bounce back and recover in the manner you have, winning 9 on the trot. What was the message sent after those 2 games?
You know, you've got to go and win a World Cup. You just can't wait for it to happen. And I think you've got to be brave at times. You've got to take the game on. And there was a real shift after those first 2 games. With our batting particularly, you saw the openers going really aggressive, and that pretty much didn't waver from that for the rest of the tournament. And it was total buy-in from everyone, and in the end it worked.
It's a great 6 months for you. World Test Championship, now the World Cup.
Oh yeah, crazy. I mean, yeah, this year will be a year we remember for a long, long time. Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been pretty much spent the whole Aussie winter away overseas playing, but we've had a lot of success, and this pips it all. This is top of the mountain.
Well, Pat, thanks a lot. Hang in here. Well, now it's the opportunity to call the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, onto the stage, please. And we'll also invite Mr. Richard Marles, the Deputy Prime Minister of Australia. So the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, and Mr. Richard Marles, the Deputy Prime Minister of Australia. Well, thank you, Pat. I'd now request you to go and collect the World Cup from the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi. And congratulations to Australia. And it's many congratulations to Australia.
What a proud moment for Pat Cummins as he waits for...
What a moment for Australia. What a campaign. What a year for Pat Cummins. The near perfect game after what in his own words he described really wasn't the best campaign, but on the big day when you show up and you perform with extraordinary people watching you and you bring out your DNA of being world champions and you do it for the 6th time. In 1987 they won it for their first title, their first title right here on Indian shores, and they have done it again. We've got a full pack analyst with us here on Jindal Panther Cricket Live, powered by Amal. But first and foremost, I will go to Aaron Finch, our world champion in the house. This is a huge moment, Finchie, for Australia, for Australian cricket, but also a huge moment for Pat Cummins. That's 2 ICC titles for him this year. Was it not the near-perfect campaign, but the near-perfect final for you?
Yeah, it's about peaking at the right time, and Australia certainly did that. And between Pat Cummins and Andrew McDonald, they need to take a lot of credit for that. The way that that group has stayed together for quite a while now. To have a long campaign of the World Test Championship, the Ashes, a lot of the players are still the same. You can see what it means to all of them. To save your best for last and play an almost perfect game was remarkable. It started with the ball. It was backed up in the field where they were unbelievable in the semi-final and the final. And Travis Head, what about that for a knock?
Oh, that was a stage to come to the party. Sunny, do you look at this group here? It's essentially a core group that has won you a T20 World Cup, that has won you a World Test Championship, and that has won you now a one-day World Cup. Should we be talking about Australian domination again?
We should be, because of the way they've been playing. Look at the way they don't forget they retained the Ashes as well before they came for the World Cup. So they've really had an outstanding season, starting with the World Test Championship, then the Ashes series, and now winning the World Cup. So they certainly look as if they're going to be a dominant team again, but probably not as dominant as they were in, say, the late 90s and the early 2000s, where they were winning just about every game. Pretty much like the West Indies of the 1970s and 1980s, winning just about everything. Now I think there are a couple of teams which are giving them a fight. England, for example, in the Ashes, gave them a real close run. Then India is another team which is always will give them a close run, and South Africa is coming good as well.
Australia world champions for the 6th time. That's a record that is incredible. You look at some of the moments that you've seen from them in this World Cup campaign. Travis Head, as you mentioned, Pat Cummins has been extraordinary today himself as well. That too as a captain. And Glenn Maxwell's double 100, the innings of a lifetime. It gets you that world trophy. We'll talk about it more. What a moment for Australia, and I just got to applaud the fans as well, because they're still, he has to hold his head up high, he has to still motivate and pick up his team. And you see this, the fact that Australia, your opponents, have been crowned world champions in your own backyard, and that to the 6th time. What an extraordinary campaign. But for Rohit Sharma, the batter in this World Cup, he made you believe with his template. He wasn't gunning for those milestones. Even today, I mean, that's the fastest team 50 we've seen in a World Cup final.
Yeah, and I think all of those things, when I would assume that my colleagues understand what the reflection will be for Rohit Sharma once he sits back maybe for a few days and he thinks, you know, I've kind of done almost everything that I could do to try to get to where these guys, Adam Zampa and all of those guys are today. And they've just been beaten by a champion. The other thing I want us to appreciate as well, you're right, Sonny. The gaps are closing with all these champion teams, but you have to appreciate what Australia do. They win T20 World Cups, they win Test Championships, they win ODI World Cups. There's something about them across formats that they understand that every day matters. You don't just tag that this team can win on their day. These guys don't believe in that. These guys think about delivering every single day. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. World champions. That's an extraordinary event. It's so nice to see that medal. Finchy just has to get his hands on it. But, oh, David, what a campaign it has been for you on a personal front as well. I mean, 2 back-to-back World Cups that you put your heart into it. You have savored every moment performing in front of this Indian crowd. Do you have words to describe what you're feeling right now?
I don't at the moment, but look, I know personally I get a lot of love and support here in India, and you know it does go a long way, and I absolutely love that, and it gets me up and about. But yeah, look, to come out here, pretty much I think everything against us. You know, I don't really have words to describe it, but it was an exceptional evening. To win, Travis Head hit 100, come back after a few injuries, and yeah, be here today to win this was absolutely fantastic.
You look at your campaign, you think of words like comeback, you think of words of fighting back. Adam, for yourself, in those first 2 games, there was a lot of chatter and you've spoken about it. But the run that you've had personally as well in this competition, and especially today against India, your bowling plans as a unit, how are you looking to put pressure in India after you put them into bat first and then in the chase as well? Personally for you as a team to turn your campaign around.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting looking into the strategy today. Winning the toss, bowling first, we really felt like with the wicket being dry, it could potentially spin and be hard to get away. We knew that we could get the ball to reverse late and it could be tough to score, and we took wickets at the right times. I mean, Pat Cummins' spell through the middle there was unbelievable. I think that was a bit of a game changer for us, and yeah, I mean, it basically the bowling innings went as perfect as possible, so yeah, we were happy with that one.
During the run chase, they're always stressful until that last run is made. At what point did you two feel comfortable that it was,
albeit didn't go on with it, but he sort of set the tone, and that was the energy that we wanted, and we knew that the wicket may get tough. It was a great decision, obviously, to bowl first when we win the toss, and I felt like the wicket got better as the day went on. It took a little bit of spin, but yeah, all the reasons why we did what we did at the toss all paid dividends. So yeah, nice to be part of it, nice to play a role in that, and yeah, what's going to be an amazing couple of days now.
You played superbly in the second half of the match, but the big turning point right at the start, the wicket of Rohit Sharma and your unbelievable catch running back. You could see Australia made a very strong statement very early. They were right into this game and they were going to play like champions, not giving India an inch.
He's probably the unluckiest man in the world. Yeah, again, it's something that I worked hard on. Yeah, I couldn't imagine getting 100, couldn't imagine probably holding on to that one. Again, nice to hold on to something that's important, and you want to look after your teammates, you want to contribute. To be able to do that on a big stage in front of a full house under all that pressure is a nice thing that I'll be able to look back on later in my life.
Ricky Ponting, Adam Gilchrist, and now Travis Head, Australian players who've got 100 in the World Cup finals.
I'm definitely third on that list, so no, it's a nice one to join. Again, just nice to be here. It's nice to contribute. Nice to, yeah. I said the boys, I'm looking forward to the reunion.
Well, Travis, well done. This is a huge moment for you and your country. Well done tonight.
Thank you very much.
48 matches, a billion dreams in blue shattered, but one world champion, Australia, the winners of 2023, six-time world champions. The first time when they were the perfect 10, near perfect campaign for Team India. But there is something in the DNA of Australian players. You got one standing beside you right there that know how to be world champions. The world stage beckons them and they perform.
And many, many congratulations to them for their achievement, because they really played pretty much a perfect game. Everybody earlier on you would have heard talking about that decision of Pat Cummins to field first. That was a bold decision, but he had conviction. He had conviction in his team. He had conviction about what he had seen about the pitch. He had the belief that in case the dew comes in after 10 overs or when they start chasing, it'll help their batters. Everything worked. But most importantly, if his bowlers hadn't bowled the way that they did, then maybe India could have got another 50, 60 runs, and then that would have been a much closer game. I'm not saying that Australia would not have been able to get to that, because they got to 240 with only 4 wickets down and a few overs left.
You crown Australia with a 6th title.
The moment of the final was Travis Head's catch of Rohit Sharma. That really was game-changing. Rohit Sharma was on fire, taking the Aussie fast bowlers down that first power play. And for Travis Head to be able to just find a way to get to that ball and wrapping his hands around that catch, that was really the defining moment, because then it got more challenging. India, Kohli and also Carwell, they couldn't go hard. They had to conserve the wickets, knowing they had Surya Kumar Yadav and also Jadeja there only left to bat with. So they had to sort of calm it down through those middle overs, and that's where they just got a bit stuck. And that's where the overs just drew out. And Australia, because they bowled so well, they filled, they cut down balls. It meant that it kept the target within range.
Down, I think they were defeated by an opposition that was just very classy, committed, championship DNA.
Championship DNA. Rohit Sharma, I mean, you understand what this campaign has meant for him. He's led from the front with a bat. There have been some extraordinary individual performances, and you look back and you see our nation. You see, look at that, Sunny G. You look at that. You see this nation that has come together on this team in blue. So you can understand the emotions. You can understand the heartbreak. What are you personally feeling? You won this. There were question marks. Why are you waiting so long to field him, to blood him in? He came in and made a statement. He's made back-to-back statements as semi in a final to join a elite list of batters who've got hundreds on the big stage.
Absolutely. Travis Head. The semi-final was brilliant. In the final tonight was just, it's an innings that you dream of being able to play. And he did it from the first game he came in against New Zealand. He's high risk, high reward batter, and he has been on fire. Oh goodness, that looks amazing. The World Cup up in the sky
to bat on. So you needed somebody with test match temperament, test match technique, particularly when the score, the target that they were chasing was not a very challenging one. It was under 5 runs and over, 4.82. So you needed somebody to be able to show the technique and the temperament of a test match and steady the ship at that stage. Three wickets had fallen, and another wicket had fallen at that stage before the 100 had been reached. It could have been a different story.
That secure innings when Jadeja and Kuldeep were bowling to him. He's a wonderful player. I was wondering if they could, like Temba Bavuma did the other night, get someone under the helmet and get him in close to try to put a little bit of pressure on him. But then we could be nitpicking and splitting hairs because they batted so very well. But just those two things. There were a few byes early on behind the stumps. I don't think KL Rahul had his best night. So again, I'll just hold my hand up and say Australia were very, very good from the first ball they bowled to the last run they hit.
Champion DNA, we've seen that from Australia today. And this team, their hearts must be breaking, dreams closing in. At the moment, they'll have to shift those dreams to maybe another 4 years from now. You can understand how difficult it must be when you're playing at home and the expectations and the burden of that. And as agonizing it is to go through these moments, and the great man, Sachin, who himself, Sunny G, waited so many years to get World Cup glory. He understands what it means for so many of these players. For Rahul Dravid, who's done it as a player, now as a coach, who's also waiting for that form of redemption. These are beautiful moments because, you know, respect has to come from your own peers, and that's the only thing. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt for a long time. We hurt together, but that's okay. Life does go on. You look back at small moments, Sunny G, and you just see that after the power play, there were 97 deliveries where not a single boundary was hit. There was a passage of play in the middle, but the run rate wasn't over 4. Yes, there was a partnership building, but was that a phase where Indian batters could have tried something differently with their approach?
Yes, I said that earlier on as well. Maybe they could have looked to get a little more stuck at the non-regular bowlers like a Travis Head or a Glenn Maxwell or a Mitchell Marsh, because the fifth bowler was always going to be Australia's worry. Australia had 3 wonderful bowlers in the fast bowlers and then Adam Zampa, but the fifth bowler was always going to be the worry for Australia. And maybe if they had looked, not necessarily to go for the boundaries, but look to tap it around and run. They were hitting the ball hard to the fielders, so they're not able to get the singles as well. So maybe over there, if the singles had been taken, you could have had maybe 20 runs more, 30 runs more, maybe 30 runs more, and that could have been just that little, 270 is just that little bit more where you can keep more fielders in catching positions when you're defending it. But this is really nitpicking. I don't think, it really is. Australia were quite simply the better side today, and they deserve to win the cup.
What are you...
Any batter in a single edition of the World Cup. Mohammad Shami finishes as the leading wicket-taker of the World Cup. Despite not playing the first 4 matches of the tournament, he becomes India's leading wicket-taker in World Cups, the fastest to 50 World Cup wickets, and picks up the best ever figures in World Cup knockouts in the semi-final against New Zealand. Captain Rohit leads from the front with his ultra-aggressive approach in the power play. He finishes the tournament as the second highest run getter. What was most impressive is that 401 of his 597 runs came in the first 10 overs at a strike rate of 135. The hitman also overtakes Sachin for the most centuries in World Cups.
From Rohit Sharma.
Shreyas Iyer scores 430 runs in his maiden World Cup with 2 tons in the tournament. KL Rahul at number 5 impresses as well with over 450 runs. India's middle order shows its might in the competition. India finished the tournament as the only team with 5 bowlers to have taken over 10 wickets in the competition. Shami's on top, but the other 2 pacers breathe fire, while Jadeja and Kuldeep spin a web.
It has been the campaign to remember. It just hasn't had the fairy tale finish. Their first vital right here on Indian shores, and they have done it again. We've got a full pack analyst with us here on Jindal Panther Cricket Live, powered by Amal. But first and foremost, I will go to Aaron Finch, our world champion in the house. This is a huge moment, Finchies, for Australia, for Australian cricket, but also a huge moment for Pat Cummins. That's 2 ICC titles for him this year. Was it not the near-perfect campaign, but the near-perfect final for you?
Yeah, it's about peaking at the right time, and Australia certainly did that. And between Pat Cummins and Andrew McDonald, they need to take a lot of credit for that. The way that that group has stayed together for quite a while now. To have a long campaign of the World Test Championship, the Ashes, a lot of the players are still the same. You can see what it means to all of them. To save your best for last and play an almost perfect game was remarkable. It started with the ball. It was backed up in the field where they were unbelievable in the semi-final and the final. And Travis Head, what about that for a knock?
Oh, that was a stage to come to the party. Sunny G, you look at this group here. It's essentially a core group that has won you a T20 World Cup, that has won you a World Test Championship, and that has won you now a one-day World Cup. Should we be talking about Australian domination again?
We should be, because of the way they've been playing. Look at the way they don't forget they retained the Ashes as well before they came for the World Cup. So they've really had an outstanding season, starting with the World Test Championship, then the Ashes series, and now winning the World Cup. So they certainly look as if they're going to be a dominant team again, but probably not as dominant as they were in, say, the late 90s and the early 2000s, where they were winning just about every game. Pretty much like the West Indies of the 1970s and 1980s, winning just about everything. Now I think there are a couple of teams which are giving them a fight. England, for example, in the Ashes, gave them a real close run. Then India is another team which is always will give them a close run, and South Africa is coming good as well.
Australia world champions for the 6th time. That's a record that is incredible. You look at some of the moments that you've seen from them in this World Cup campaign. Travis Head, as you mentioned, Pat Cummins has been extraordinary today himself as well. That too as a captain. And Glenn Maxwell's double 100, the innings of a lifetime. It gets you that world trophy. We'll talk